What can I say, folks? Leave it to the New York Jets to find a way to screw everything up. Because why? They are the New York Jets. Before we really get into the big topic, which to me has got to be the fact the Jets won a football game. I know that a lot of people are talking about that right now here online. Um, First of all, congratulations to the Buffalo Bills. The Buffalo Bills taking care of the AFC East. They wrap it up on Saturday night with a 48-19 win over the Denver Broncos. Complete domination by the Bills. Josh Allen, 359 yards passing. He was fantastic yet again. And of course, Stephon Diggs, Cole Beasley both went off. Neither one had a touchdown catch in that game. But Stephon Diggs, 11 catches, 147 yards. Cole Beasley, 8 catches, 112 yards. The Bills, 11-3. They're marching on into the playoffs. They are the AFC East champions for the first time since 1995. Last time the Buffalo Bills were AFC East champions, Bill Clinton was president of the United States. Forrest Gump was the best picture of the year. And people were actually going to the library to research stuff and not having to use Google. That's how long ago it's been since the Buffalo Bills last won the AFC East. So they're AFC East champions now, again, for the first time since that time, as the Patriots have been dethroned. Of course, the Patriots now out of the playoffs after they lost to the Miami Dolphins earlier on Sunday, 22-12. But the Bills at 11-3, they could be a big threat in the AFC. And I know the Kansas City Chiefs are the team to beat, but when you look at the Bills have done, this is a team that's beaten the Steelers head-to-head. This is a team that, yes, even gave the Chiefs a bit of a hard time earlier in the year. But you take a look what Buffalo has done over the last 8 weeks. They've gone 7-1, and the only loss they have had was that crazy game in Arizona against the Cardinals. That's it. As they now sit here again, 11-3, they could, if there's going to be a team other than let's say a Pittsburgh or a Tennessee that could challenge Kansas City, it could be the Buffalo Bills this year in the postseason. We'll have to wait and see. And again, they get the Patriots and the Dolphins the next couple weeks. We'll see if they can get a couple more wins, finish 13-3, if not 12-4. And they'll get, we'll see who they will play in that first playoff game. Could be a tough one. They could have to go up against a team like Indianapolis or somebody like that in the wild card playoff game. So now let's move on to the Jets. Now, I initially recorded a segment on this, but I felt I needed more time just to get my thoughts together and then come back here with a proper way to vent after what we saw last night. Let's just be honest, folks. What we saw last night with the Jets was the ultimate punch to the solar plex. Okay? This was the punch to the gut that Jet fans never deserved, never wanted. Never in the history of the franchise. Only the Jets could do this, right? Only the Jets could absolutely have the worst possible victory in franchise history, potentially because it may have cost them an opportunity to get a generational talent in Trevor Lawrence. Now, I will say this. Okay, I understand where the players are coming from in this. Players want to win. Coaches want to win. Okay? Teams want to go out there and perform every week and go out there and get victories. That's what they play for. That's what they get paid for. I totally understand that. And they played a good game against a very good NFC team in the Los Angeles Rams, and they went out there and thoroughly dominated the game. So I give a lot of kudos to the players, for that matter, on the field for what they did on Sunday. The Jet defense came to play. They sacked Jared Goff 3 times. Had a big interception of him. Bryce Hall had a big interception of Goff in this game. Defense played great. The offense was catch as catch can. Sam Darnold played well, was fairly sharp. Didn't commit a turnover, and the Jets did just enough to win the football game. But there is a real cruel irony to all this, and it's the fact that the Jets no longer have control of the top pick in the NFL draft for next year. And I know we're sitting here, it's December, we're just a couple of days away from Christmas, the NFL playoffs are here. Well, who cares about the NFL draft for that matter? But the fact is, when you have a prospect that everyone's been talking about like Trevor Lawrence, everyone and their grandmother's talking about Trevor Lawrence being this generational talent coming out of Clemson University, And the Jets for weeks have been assumed to be that team that he could end up being the destination to. We've had a lot of people speculating that he would not go to the Jets, that he would try to force an Eli Manning, John Elway type of trade, or maybe that he would decide to pull a Peyton Manning and decide to come back to Clemson for another year for his senior year, since he has another year of eligibility. That talk may all go to the wayside now, because now the Jaguars, based on strength of schedule, and I know when you look at the record, the Jets and the Jaguars are both 1-13, and the Jets don't have any conference wins, whereas the Jaguars have their one win in conference, in division, in fact, against Indianapolis. The fact is, strength and schedule in this case plays the deciding role, and the Jaguars get the top pick, so they just lose out there, and this could end up being a cost. This could end up costing the Jets a lot. So the question now is, for the Jets, what does this now mean next? And the one thing that I keep coming back to, well, yes, you feel good for the players who are on the field right now that they end up going out there and getting a win. The future of the franchise right now, a lot of questions now. A lot of questions. I start again with the head coach, Adam Gase. I know everyone thinks they expects him to be fired, myself included, but I keep saying, and I said it in my last video on this topic, there's always the chance. And when it comes to the Jets and it comes to the Johnson brothers, you never know what they're going to do. If, let's just say, the Jets finish strong here, a win against the playoff-bound team like the Rams, maybe they find a way to get one more win. And who knows, maybe they find a way to beat the Browns, I don't see it, or the Patriots. And all of a sudden, Adam Gase goes back to the Johnsons and says, hey, look, see, I fired Greg Williams, and now, look, we've won three games, or two of our last three games. Give me another chance. Now, does he deserve it? Of course not. He should be fired, but it's the Johnsons. You just never know. Again, we have seen the Johnsons in this spot before. You go back to 2013 with Rex Ryan, where they ended that season winning in Miami, and then lo and behold, there was Woody Johnson with John Idzik in the locker room, praising the virtues of Rex Ryan, and he would come back. And we all knew Ryan and Idzik together was a big mistake. So that's my concern there. I fully expect Gase to still get the axe in a couple weeks, but I'll just leave that out there as a possibility. But the bigger problem is this. What does this really mean for the franchise? Are they going to commit now to Sam Darnold? Do they believe in if let's just say, Trevor Lawrence goes number one to Jacksonville, do they believe in a Justin Fields? Do they want to go that route? And remember, Darnold is due has a fifth-year option that has to be picked up. He is due about $25 million. So the Jets now want to go right ahead and make that move, commit to Darnold for the future beyond this season. That now comes back into play. And as I said, do the Jets end up trading down on that pick? And that makes the Jets' job, not very attractive, especially within such an archaic structure that the power structure the Jets have, where the head coach and the general manager work in tandem and report to the ownership, and the ownership has in the past been quite clueless. So there's a lot of things there that really, really worry me with regards to the Jets and the Jets' future. And what makes it even worse is, let's just say, just for the sake of argument, that Trevor Lawrence does go to Jacksonville, or maybe finagles his way out of Jacksonville, ends up going somewhere else in a trade, draft day trade, and becomes that big-time superstar. Well, now you lost out on that. Now Trevor Lawrence becomes almost like the Brett Favre or the Dan Marino scenario, where you say, oh man, if we only had that pick, that's how bad it could become. Now, of course, there is, if you want to play devil's advocate here, in a few days, could be a completely different narrative. The Chicago Bears could go out there, beat the Jacksonville Jaguars, or the Jaguars, rather, I should say, could go out there, beat the Chicago Bears. I know the Bears have been playing pretty good football the last couple of weeks, but it is the NFL. Hey, nobody thought the Jets would beat the Rams. Who's to say that the Jaguars can't go out there and beat the Bears, a bad football team in their own right, and that would swing the Jets back into potentially the number one pick, and then all this screaming and yelling that we've heard from all the fans, including myself, would be, well, just fodder for that matter. So we'll see. A lot of things could indeed change. We still got 2 weeks left to go in the season, but I've heard a lot of fans say that they're happy the team won. They didn't want to go 0-16. They don't care about a pick. You have to care about what this situation, because this could be something that, if it goes the way everyone is expecting with Trevor Lawrence, it could be something that could be damaging for the Jets for years to come. It'll be just a microcosm in a history of absolute muck that has been the New York Jets for a very, very long time. I don't even know what to say anymore. I just don't even know what to say anymore when it comes to the Jets. We're all going to look back at this game, this one win, as being another one of those seminal moments or ironic moments or infamous moments potentially in Jets history. So we'll see how that goes down. Now, as far as the Giants are concerned, they had their chance to make a big move in the NFC East, and they didn't do it. But the Giants laying an egg against the Cleveland Browns at home, losing 20-6 in primetime. The Giants had a couple of drives in this game where they got into goal-to-go scenarios against the Browns and failed to score. The first drive of the game, they get within what they had a opportunity at the 6-yard line, couldn't plug it in. Could have easily kicked a field goal, taken a 3-0 lead. Instead, the Giants decide to gamble. Joe Judge decides to gamble, puts a special teams unit out there. Instead of kicking a field goal, they decide to try a fake field goal with the punter throwing the football into the end zone. Incomplete. Complete waste of an opportunity there for the Giants. Then they get another goal-to-go scenario later on in the second quarter, and again, they decide to run the football at the middle and get nowhere on 4th and 2. They blew each time in those opportunities when they could have gotten points, even 3 points. The game was nothing, and then 7-3. You could have still been in the game, somewhat in the game, and the Giants blew that. And of course, Baker Mayfield just tore them apart. 297 yards passing, a couple of touchdowns, a couple of big drives for Cleveland as they dominated the game, and they get their 10th win of the year. Giants are 5-9, and they're in a scenario where they look like they're done. They were flat against the Arizona Cardinals and flat against the Browns. Have been outscored 46-13 in the last 2 weeks, both games at home, and now they get the Ravens next week. That will not be easy. Probably going to be a loss next week, and if the Giants lose that game next week and the Washington football team beats Carolina next week, turn the lights out on the NFC East, the Giants season will more than likely be over for that matter. So really what's kind of been a blown opportunity for the Giants here. After that big win a couple weeks ago against Seattle, you want to blame Joe Judge for the decision-making in this game against Cleveland? You can do that. You want to blame Joe Judge for starting an injured Daniel Jones last week against the Cardinals? I don't know if you're going to get I don't know if it would have been any better with Colt McCoy last week either. So the facts are, the Giants had a chance to do something this year, didn't do it, and it looks like they're going to end up falling short of the playoffs, for that matter, once again, coming out of the NFC East. So, folks, remember to follow us on social media at OpenMicNJ on Twitter, Facebook.com/OpenMicProgram. Remember to like and subscribe right here to the Sports Talk channel. We'll talk to you next time.